Everyone's talking about starting an agency or selling ebooks online to make money. But today, I want to show you 5 different ways that marketing gurus aren't showing you to make $20,000 a month online. Let's get started with the first one right here. My personal favorite, I call it website flipping. What we're talking about is finding websites that are for sale, that are under monetized, and making them better. So if you see, we can go to lots of different brokerages like Flippa, Empire Brokers, FE International. There's a ton of them out there. But what we want to do is look for websites that we think there's a major opportunity to make worth more money. We're going to make quick changes to them, and then we're going to flip them for massive profits. Let's take a look at some of the ones that are available today. Priced under $2,500. Let's say content and advertising. That's my favorite because those are ones that I know that we can change quickly. We can make good differences to. Let's see, air cookers, boom, boom, boom. Here's one for sale. Current price $305. I bet it goes for more, a lot more, probably more like 20,000 by the end. But I can tell you, we could probably take this website, figure out how to improve it, and double the money on it in a year. If we're looking at a little bit more structure of a way with a lower level start to it, you can obviously find websites that are for sale for significantly cheaper. I recently did this with a website called bestdogfrisbee.com. I purchased bestdogfrisbee.com for about $400, making about $10 a month. I will make changes to this website that probably brings it up to about $30, $40, or $50 a month, and then go sell it for $2,000, $2,500. So that'd be an easy flip as well. Then there's a lot of other opportunities in the website flipping space. It's sort of like taking all the tricks that all the big bankers and private equity guys use and taking it out of their heads and applying them to much smaller businesses. And that's my favorite business to run, is buying little internet businesses, making them amazing, and then selling them. There's a lot of different ways to make some money online. I think another interesting one is to do a newsletter. So for me, my newsletter is nanoflips.com. And what I'd like to talk about is discover how to flip digital real estate for profit. What I do is I teach people how to buy websites, improve them, and then sell them for significantly more money. So I think it's interesting because a newsletter can be an incredibly profitable venture. I mean, here's some sales from our newsletter recently, 15,000. We've done 300,000 over the past couple of years with it. And that's just some of the basic ones, right? That's if you can build your own product on the back end, and you can make a lot of money that way, for sure, 20,000 a month. But I know you're wondering sort of what would I build a newsletter about? And so one thing I always tell people is to sort of find a niche, find something they're interested in, trying to aggregate data around that niche, aggregate news, figure out what people are writing about that's interesting, and then put it all together in a weekly newsletter and send it out to the people that you want to your subscribers. And so people don't know what content to write. That's the perfect way to do this. And I'm going to give you an example here right now using Morning Brew. Morning Brew just sold for $70 million to Insider. For $70 million. That's not a small chunk of change. That's absolutely for sure. So I think one thing that's important to think about is sort of the long-term exit value. I'm a big guy that's interested in 2 things. Cash flow, 1, and 2, equity value. What can you sell this business for? So I like to think about removing myself from a business, scaling it, and then finding a buyer, right? So Morning Brew, as we see right here, market performance year to date. All they're doing, this is not their data, this is just market performance data. They are, linking to different articles in different places. The Block reports this. So you will see right here, here's an article from the Block. If we go back, they have a nice image. Then they basically aggregate other news from other sources. They sum it up, and then they link to it, right? And so that's really cool for a couple reasons. What's interesting is no one is upset about getting a backlink to their content. Everybody wants a backlink to their content. So you are doing the writer of the original content a service and your readers a service, and you're getting paid by holding the middle of it. And what I mean by that is, if we take a scroll down, we'll see sponsored by SimpliSafe. So these newsletter aggregators, what you can do is build a newsletter predicated on things that you love and that you specifically find super interesting. And when you do that, you can gather the information, gather the news that you like anyway. I see people doing a lot with NFTs and crypto, for example. Put it all together in a newsletter, give a little context by writing about it, and then you're gonna sell sponsorships. They're getting paid by SimpliSafe, right? To be the sponsored company in their newsletter. So you can do that too, right? That's totally doable. And then people wanna know, how can you grow this newsletter? There's a bunch of ways. You can sort of, if we take a look at my Twitter, for example, I'm Jameson Camp on Twitter, or James on Camp. I've got about 47,000 followers. I know that seems like a lot of followers, but to be very candid and straightforward, less than 2 years ago I had 800 followers, 700 followers. And I just decided to give a lot of value to Twitter and the Twitter community. And in return, they follow me, and then right here, they click and sign up for my newsletter. There's also other ways that you can do this. You can do this by sort of jumping in and joining Facebook groups or subreddits and becoming a really active member in those communities. The trick is just to not spam them. The trick is to give real value. The trick is to be slow and calm and understand that growth is not a straight line. It's up and down and up and down and goes slowly. And there's an old saying that it's slow and then all at once. And I've seen that happen time and time again. Now, if you put together a really just crappy, boring newsletter that no one cares about, of course no one's going to read it, no one's going to share it, sponsors won't want to do it. But if it's something you're passionate about, something you're interested in, this is a fantastic way to, in the beginning, make a little bit of extra money, but in the long run, $70 million exits, you're making way more than $20,000 a month. That's for sure. So I think the next way that is interesting to look at it is obviously e-commerce stores. Everyone talks about drop shipping. Let me tell you right now, drop shipping is the toughest model on the planet. I would not in any way recommend someone just try and get into drop shipping unless they're already a really good media buyer or they have a really strong background in SEO and they can make sure that their website ranks really high organically in Google. And the reason that I say this is because dropshipping is a very cutthroat industry. You lose margin by paying somebody else to drop ship these products for you, right? So in turn for them packaging it and shipping it for you and dealing with the logistics of it, they are going to charge you more money, which brings your margins down. And I can tell you, as someone who's been involved in the e-commerce space for 15 plus years, and I've sold several e-commerce businesses, most recently sold a direct-to-consumer brand, is that you're going to want at least 50, 60% margins and AOVs or average order values of over $40 or $50 to get things really profitable in terms of e-commerce stores. And so I'd be very careful because the dropshipping model pulls you away from that because it takes some of your margin away. So I would think about if you are doing a Shopify store, Shopify is the best platform there's going to be for running e-commerce as is. I would think about something that you're interested in the long run because it will tell you is that building a blog, for example, building a content site, just niche content sites like, gettinginformationdone.com, right? There's not much that goes into maintaining a niche content site. And that's what I talk about a lot in nano flips and buying websites that you can improve and sell. It's just you need to worry about traffic and not worry so much about sales. Whereas with an e-commerce store, you have to worry about sales, supply chain management, customer service, all the above. I'm not saying don't get into it. I love that space. I've been heavily involved in that space for a long time, and I will always be involved in that space. But what I will tell you is there's a lot more moving parts, and very early on, it's going to take a lot more of your time and money. You're going to ship the products yourself. You're going to source them yourself. You're going to package them yourself. You deal with customer service. So building an e-commerce store is a phenomenal way. We did about $3 million last year in the most recent one I had. It was not drop shipping them. It's a tough shot. But I will tell you, there are some masters at that. One being my friend Jason, who owns a company called Doe. If we take a look at Doe right here, it is a lashes company, right? They do phenomenal job with branding. I would guess that they're in the 8-figure range a year in revenue. I don't know, and I'm not going to ask Jason because it's sort of inappropriate. But my best guess is they're over $10 million a year. And he started this from scratch, right? So that's totally doable for anyone. But I would recommend learning to be a great media buyer and understanding that you're going to be a much longer path than some of the other ways that we can talk about making money. Because the interesting ways for me are the investment opportunities of like buying these cash flow positive websites already. Like I said, I teach how to do it in nanoflips.com in my free newsletter. Or we can dive into a couple other things like my friend Daniel has something called his account's called Cold Email Wizard on Twitter, and he likes to talk about how to cold email people and teach you how to do cold email lead generation for clients. And I won't get into the exact details of how it's done because he's a master of that, and I've done a little bit of it in my life, but I don't want to pretend that that is exactly what I do all the time. But you get clients that pay you per booked call or per lead, and then you go out there and follow the right format, use tools like Wizza, or LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and start booking phone calls for other clients, for other people that sell products. And the other people that sell products like software or agencies will pay you $100, $200 per booked phone call, right? So if we're doing $20,000 a month at $200 a booked phone call, we're looking to get 100 phone calls a month. Not impossible stuff, right? Not impossible stuff. It just is, are you going to put in the effort? And what I can tell you unequivocally, most people are not willing to put in the effort. But that is a fantastic way to make an extra $20,000 a month online that not everyone's talking about these days. Another one I find really interesting is the agency model. And what I will tell you is that everyone talks about building agencies, but they don't talk about the correct way to do it. And I've got a couple friends. My friend Chase Diamond does this here. He's got something called Boundless Labs. Basically what they do is email marketing, specifically email marketing for direct-to-consumer stores and CBD brands specifically. You can see right here. So one thing I would highly recommend is picking a niche. Don't say we do email marketing or we do marketing for everyone. No. If you owned a CBD company and I said, here's 5 agencies that can run email marketing for you, 4 of them do everything for everyone, and 1 of them only does email marketing for CBD brands, without knowing anything else, unequivocally, every single time, you would pick the agency that did the CBD brand email marketing to run your CBD brand's email marketing. It's a lot more simple than I think people give it credit. So pick your niche, hone in, and figure out sort of who you want to speak to and how you want to approach them. Now, if we go look at Chase, one thing that's really cool about my friend Chase is not only does he have a really rocking CBD email marketing agency, but he teaches people how to do that. He teaches people how to do email marketing and build agencies, but also he teaches a lot for free. And this is why he's got 56.9 thousand followers on Twitter. You want to be putting out tons and tons and tons of content for free. And then you can sort of teach, he gets lots of agency clients that way. You know, all he needs is at $3,000, 6 clients a month to come in, and I know he's got way more than that are to make that elusive $20,000 a month. He's got a newsletter connected to that. Again, you know, if we look at, this is my newsletter, if we see right here, just to give you some stats, people that are curious about how it can work, got 7,500 subscribers on it, 300,000 emails sent. And I know Chase is a bit bigger, for example, with a 43% open rate, and this is some of the revenue that's been derived from that newsletter. 17,000 recently. So my point in telling you that is the newsletter can be good if you build a personal brand. The ability to get agency clients can be great if you build a personal brand. And yeah, it's just sort of unlimited upside and opportunity. I recently, as an example, bought a website to flip called bestdogfrisbee.com. We are slowly making changes to it, improving to it, and I really, like I said in the beginning, I think we're going to flip it for a few $1,000s. Probably 20 hours of work. That's a low scale example. The business that we sold 2 weeks ago was sold for, I'm looking at the exact number here, $774,170. Right? So the scale is infinite. The opportunities are infinite. But what I will tell you is that there's an infinite number of ways to make money online. Making $10,000 or $20,000 a month online is not impossible. Anyone can do it. All you need is a plan and to stick to the plan. The real problem for people is that what they run into is they run into a scenario in which there's too many options and they hop around from one to another. So for me, I've built a bunch of different brands throughout my life and sold them, did digital strategy for Fortune 500 companies, consulted lots of small companies as well. But now I'm going big on audience and newsletter. And at the same time, because I talk about website flipping, I'm making sure to flip websites. So pick a space, pick a lane, go for it as hard as you can, and become a master in that craft. And the last piece of advice that I will give you is that it is not going to happen overnight. I'm not a get-rich-quick guru. I'm not some make-money online guru guy. What I will tell you is that in my experience, this is totally doable for anyone. Making $1 million a year, that's a whole different bag of tricks. Making $20K a month, $10K a month, totally doable. You just have to pick one lane and stick to it. And if you got a lot of time, building something like an agency is perfect. If you're like me and you're busy and you're looking for a better investment opportunity, then buying websites, improving them and flipping them is the much better opportunity for everyone that I can think of. You know, so that's all for today, you guys. If you enjoyed this video, why not watch more? You can click right here, see another one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again. Make sure to click and watch one more in this series. I'm going to teach you guys everything that I know.